The exploitation of work, the modern slavery of the will. Have you ever thought to yourself, there is something wrong about modern jobs that makes it seem like modern-day slavery? Well, you are not alone. Inspired by thinkers like Marx, Simone Weil, Schopenhauer, and many more, work is often celebrated as the foundation of human dignity, the means by which we create, contribute, and give meaning to our existence. Societies glorify labor as virtue, as discipline, as the price of civilization itself. But beneath that moral veneer lies a darker truth. Work, as it exists today, is a form of exploitation, not just of our time and energy, but of our very will to live. The modern worker does not labor freely. They labor because they must. The need to survive, to eat, to pay rent, to keep the lights on, forces them into the marketplace, where their time is exchanged for wages that rarely reflect the value of their effort. This is the silent coercion at the heart of capitalism. No one holds a whip, yet everyone is driven. The economic system doesn't enslave through chains, it enslaves through necessity. Work is often celebrated as the foundation of human dignity, the means by which we create, contribute, and give meaning to our existence. Societies glorify labor as virtue, as discipline, as the price of civilization itself. But beneath that moral veneer lies a darker truth. Work, as it exists today, is a form of exploitation, not just of our time and energy, but of our very will to live. The modern worker does not labor freely. They labor because they must. The economic system doesn't enslave through chains, it enslaves through necessity. The commodification of life. Karl Marx argued that under capitalism, labor becomes a commodity. The worker sells their capacity to work, their energy, intelligence, creativity, as though these were objects separate from themselves. In this transaction, something profoundly human is reduced to a line item on a balance sheet. The laborer's worth is measured not by their humanity, but by their productivity, by how much profit they can generate for another. This process alienates the worker on multiple levels, from the product they make, which belongs to someone else, from the act of creation, which becomes mechanical and repetitive, and ultimately from themselves. Work ceases to be an expression of life, it becomes the exhaustion of it. What Marx saw in the 19th century factory persists today, hidden behind sleek offices and glowing screens. The conditions are cleaner, the tools more sophisticated, but the structure remains the same. The majority toil so that a minority may accumulate. 2. The new face of exploitation. In the modern world, exploitation wears a smile. It comes disguised as opportunity, hustle culture, and doing what you love. The gig worker, the freelancer, the remote employee, all are told they are free, autonomous entrepreneurs. Yet their freedom is conditional, fragile, and endlessly surveilled. The exploitation of modern work, the subtle tyranny of the 21st century. In the modern world, we no longer see chains or overseers. The factories have become offices, the fields have become screens, and the whip has been replaced by the email notification. Yet despite all our progress, the structure of exploitation has not disappeared, it has evolved. It has become quieter, more psychological, more internalized. Modern work does not enslave the body as much as it colonizes the mind. The illusion of freedom. The ideology of modern labor rests on a powerful illusion that we are free. We are told we can choose our careers, shape our futures, and find meaning through our jobs. Work is sold to us as self-expression, a path toward personal fulfillment. Do what you love, we are told, as if love were enough to fill an empty stomach or pay rent. But beneath this illusion lies necessity. The freedom to choose one's labor exists only for those who can afford to refuse it. For the vast majority, work is not a choice, it is a condition of survival. We work because without work we cannot live. The philosopher Hannah Arendt called this the animal labyrinth, the human reduced to endless production and consumption, trapped in a cycle that never ends. In this sense, the modern worker is not liberated. They are simply more efficiently managed, made to believe their servitude is freedom because it comes with benefits, flexible hours, or a creative title. The commodification of the self. Under capitalism, the worker has always sold their labor power. But in the digital age, it is no longer only time and effort being sold, it is the self. Employers now demand not just productivity but personality, enthusiasm, positivity, team spirit. Emotional labor becomes part of the job description. The modern worker must not only perform tasks but also perform identity. They must smile through exhaustion, show gratitude for exploitation, and demonstrate passion for the very system that drains them. In this way, work becomes total. It invades one's sense of self, converting authenticity into a marketable asset. The philosopher Byung-Chul Han calls this the achievement society, a world where individuals exploit themselves in the name of self-improvement. There is no longer a master forcing you to work. You force yourself, believing you are chasing success when in fact you are chasing survival. The result is a paradox, a generation that appears freer than ever but is more anxious, burnout, and disillusioned than any before. Surveillance and self-discipline. Michel Foucault once wrote about the panopticon, a prison design where inmates regulate their own behavior because they believe they are always being watched. Today, that metaphor has become literal. Every click, message, and movement in the workplace can be monitored. Algorithms measure productivity, managers track engagement, and workers internalize the gaze of the system. Even when not being watched, they behave as though they are. The modern workplace has perfected what Foucault called self-surveillance, the transformation of power from external control to internal obedience. This invisible discipline is what makes modern exploitation so effective. The worker no longer needs to be coerced, they motivate themselves. They clock in early, stay late, answer messages after hours, all in the name of dedication, when in truth it is fear of replacement, irrelevance, or failure in a system that demands constant proof of worth. The existential cost. The deepest form of exploitation is not economic, but existential. Work consumes not only our time but our attention, the very space where meaning might otherwise grow. When every waking hour is dedicated to productivity, there is little room left to ask why. Why must we live this way? Why must our value be tied to output? Modern society fears these questions because they expose a truth we prefer to ignore, that work, as it is structured today, often serves not life, but profit, and profit has no soul. Schopenhauer would say that the human will, when chained to endless striving, condemns itself to suffering. We labor to satisfy desires that never cease, and the more we achieve, the more enslaved we become to achievement itself. The workplace becomes a mirror of the will, restless, hungry, and never at peace. Toward liberation. To recognize exploitation is not the same as to escape it. Yet awareness is the first act of rebellion. Liberation from modern work does not necessarily mean abandoning all labor, it means redefining it. Work should serve life, not the other way around. It should cultivate rather than consume. It should be a means of expression, not extraction. To reach that world, we must first confront the quiet tyranny that hides behind our screens and slogans, the tyranny of endless productivity, of performative passion, of self-exploitation mistaken for freedom. Only by reclaiming our time, our attention, and our capacity for reflection can we begin to resist the machine that turns our lives into labor. At the end, modern jobs promise comfort but often deliver captivity. They disguise dependence as freedom and exploitation as opportunity. The tragedy of our age is not that we must work, but that we have forgotten why we work and for whom. Until we rediscover that answer, we remain cogs in a system that feeds on our striving and names it success. The chains may be invisible, but the weight is real.